Gorefield V2. This is one of the mods I actually quite enjoy. It's not perfect or anything, but it does have a really good OST. And I do quite like it. So today we're going to be ranking it. Now, before we begin, there are some rules. Rule number 1, I will not be ranking anything from V1. So no V1 of the Curious Cat, Hi John, or Metamorphosis. Nope, those 3 don't count. I also will not be ranking that rap Gorefield song that Bitfox made. I don't count that. And I will also be ranking Alter Cat. Yes, I know it's supposed to be in V3, but it will be getting an update in V3, and we did technically get it in a hotfix update, so it's not the worst thing ever, and I do quite like Alter Cat. I'm not sure, there won't be any guest speakers this time, it'll just be me and nobody else. I was considering putting indie skits in, but I wanted to do a video by myself this one time, the indie skits for y'all hotter, and I'm pretty proud how this video came out. Now, with that being said,
are the crystal gems, we'll always save the day. And if you think
you are not seeing this wrong. I really did just put roses and quartz in dead last. Alright. Let me get my positive out of the way. Yes, positive. Boyfriend sounds semi-decent at parts. That's it. Everything else is a negative, and boy are there a lot of negatives. For starters, Gemfield is just using Gorefield's chromatic again. And this is the worst use of it too, because it's high-pitched, and it's screechy, and it doesn't pair well with the instrumental, and oh boy, this instrumental is not fun to listen to at all. It can't decide if it wants to be rock or 8-bit. It's not a good instrumental. It just doesn't sound good at all. I don't like any of the melodies. Nothing sounds really all that incredible. And again, Boyfriend is barely saving the song. And I mean that, just barely, because his chromatic is only decent at most points. There are some points where it just sounds awful to listen to. I am so ready to put this song in G tier. I want so badly to put this song in G tier, but I will not, because at the bare least, again, Boyfriend sounds semi-decent, and there are, a couple decent melodies, but that's all that's saving this song. That is it. In fact, I think near the end there is a pretty okay melody, but that's it. It was for that somewhat decent melody near the end, and, for the fact that Boyfriend sounds okay at parts, this song would be a G tier. I don't like this song much at all. It just sounds it's painful on the ears. I know I said Sinnes was painful on the ears, but this is just as bad as Sinesse's annoying chromatic, and it's barely being saved out. I don't like this song at all. And why is this one of the most popular mod? It's not very good at all. I'm sorry.
Be careful on the fabric of reality, Garfield.
Breaking Cats. I've never liked this song. This used to be my least favorite of all of Gorefield until Roses and Quartz really just started getting too annoying for me to listen to. That doesn't mean I like this song. No, this song is still an F tier, but it's a little bit higher up on the F tiers now. Now let's go through all my negatives first, so we can end on a nice note. For starters, I don't like Walter White's chromatic much at all. It sounds like it's trying to be Gorefield, but not very good. And that's not something I particularly enjoy. And then there's Jesse. I'm not gonna lie, Jesse is really boring and generic, and I don't like his chromatic much at all. I'm not a huge fan of most of the melodies. There are some pretty good ones, mostly in the middle, but yeah. Oh yeah, I guess the instrumental is pretty good. I do like that much. It's got a really good instrumental. The only reason it's not below Roasting Quartz anymore. But yeah, this song is really not all that good. And I guess there is one other issue with this song. It doesn't really give me a chase vibe. Like, Demise from Mario's Madness gave me a chase vibe. This really doesn't. This feels like just like a generic beat. And I don't really care for that all that much. I guess this song could be better and it's in V3. Give both players a better chromatic and maybe make this song a little better, and I could probably put the song in maybe an A tier. Also, this part right here is, I don't like it much at all. It's probably the chase theme, but it's too little too late, because at this point I don't even want to listen to the song anymore, and even then, I'm not a huge fan of this section. Yeah, Breaking Cat is easily my second least favorite. Not my least favorite anymore. It did get a little better, but I would be lying if I said this song wasn't bottom 3.
Hey there, buddy, chum, pal, friend, buddy, pal, chum, bud, friend, fella, brother, amigo, pal, buddy, friend, chummy, chum, chum, pal. I don't mean.
Monday Lovania is not a song I particularly enjoy. We're out of F tiers finally, and we've moved on to C tiers. No bad songs, except, the two we just talked about. But this is the one that is probably the closest to a D tier. And that's due to an infuriating number of reasons. For starters, oh boy, Sansfield's chromatic. It is so unbelievably boring. Like, there is only one other chromatic that is more boring, and it's not from the two we just talked about. There is one other. And to top it all off, this isn't even original. No, this is a remix. It is a cover of a Undertale remix thing from Bad Monday Simulator, and it's not pleasant to listen to. Like, it just infuriates me. That being said, those are my only real big issues, because BF sounds fine at the bare minimum. That's not saying much, but it's not hindering the song. And I gotta admit, even though, yes, it is a cover, it does have a few moments of decency. Probably mostly after this pause section, which also, why is this pause section so freaking long? It did not need to be this long. What was the thought process here? But yeah, after that, this is where I'm really starting to get into the song, and it's a little bit of a shame they didn't take this tone more, and they just kind of made the first part kind of boring, and then, oh my goodness, the guitar solo hits. It is my favorite part, and it's not even a question. My only problem is that when Girlfriend appears with the flute, it's kind of hard to make out with the instrumental, but after a while, you can make it out after a few listens. But it is still not a song I want to come back to. If it came on, I wouldn't mind listening to it, but I would be lying if I said I absolutely came back to the song over and over again, because I really don't. Sorry, Monday Lavinia, but you're not all that incredible, and you're still bottom 3.
Lesson number 7, mustache care and maintenance. 50 strokes every morning, but don't overdo it.
Or what? Don't ask.
Bigots. Oh boy. Another unpopular opinion, but yeah, I think this song's kind of boring. And honestly, it's the most forgettable out of week 1. Unfortunately, forgettable means it's not very good. And it has a lot of other issues to back that one up. So, issue number 1, Fly Man. Not the best usage of his chromatic. I don't really like how it was utilized. I preferred a lot more how it was utilized in Captain. We'll get to Captain later, don't worry. The instrumental is actually... I like the instrumental quite a bit. It's probably my favorite part of the entire song. It just sounds good all the way through. I like the instrumental a lot. And I guess Boyfriend... I'm mixed on BF's chromatic. I'm not a huge fan of how it sounds. There's something I want to say before we get to my final issue. So, this song and the previous and next song were not made by Bitbox. No, they were made by Nex_S. And look, if any of the Gorefield team watched this video, I'm sorry, but they did not do really all that good music. They made one amazing song, and yeah, that's it. Everything else was made was pretty just meh. Again, no offense to Nex, but this is not music I enjoy. He did not produce much good, this OST. Yeah, with that the way, let's get on to my biggest issue with the entirety of Bigots, and what really was the last straw, the thing that really broke the straw on the camera, and the big issue. This song is 4.5 minutes. Yes, you heard that right. 4.5 minutes. The only song that ever came close to that one was, oh right, it was Cataclysm, the big song. Which we'll get to Cataclysm later, don't worry. Okay, this compression part is pretty nice. Probably my favorite part of the entire song. I do quite like it. I mean, that's all I have to say. This is a song that I'm mixed on, because I think it's kind of mid. I could maybe see it getting a little higher in the future, once something else fell down though. But, yeah, not really a song I'd want to come back to and listen out of my free will. Sorry.
I don't mean to be rude, my friend pal home slice bread slice dog, but I gotta warn ya, if you take one more diddly darn step right there, I'm gonna have to diddly darn snap your neck. And
Ultra Field. Oh boy, this song is very similar to Monday Lovania, except it's a little better. Not a ton better, but it is a little better. Because it's basically the same song, but with one new strength and one new weakness. What do I mean by that? I mean this. This is another remix cover. Yippee! Fun! The charm has wore off by now. Oh wait, there wasn't any charm in the first place. It's just lazy and unoriginal, and nobody likes it. And there is something that makes this song a tiny bit worse than Monday Lovania, in that fact that the guitar solo is gone, which I can respect because look at Ultrafield. You think he's playing guitar? But to make the song better than Monday Lovania, I will gotta admit this. Ultrafield's chromatic is not bad. It's not boring, and it's definitely one of the weaker chromatics in the mod, but it is a perfectly suitable chromatic for him. And again, Boyfriend just sounds like his usual self, which is a small downside, but it's not a huge downside, and I have grown accustomed to it over time. But again, similar to Monday Lovania, I wouldn't really want to come back to this song on choice very often. Like, if it was something that like, just came up, I'd like, oh, okay, I'll listen to this song. Doesn't mean I'd enjoy it to any means necessary, but no, I think it's a decent song. Again, C tier means fine or meh. This is just fine. I don't really got that much else to say. I wish this song wasn't a cover, you know? Like, I wish they gave it proper time and gave us an actual song. I'm just a lazy cover, but you get what you get. Well, we've reached the B tiers now, and first up is Fast Delivery. I'm not gonna lie, I used to not really like this song all that much. I thought it was just kind of boring and just eh. Now, I actually kinda like this song. There's a lot of nice things about this song, there's a lot of negatives. The nice things, the first thing is Lasagna Boy's chromatic works pretty nice. I actually quite like how it sounds. And Boyfriend sounds... Boyfriend's my shit this song. Fun fact, dummy, I don't love compressed stuff. It just is not something I particularly love all that much. There's some stuff that's good, but I wouldn't call Fast Delivery one of those really good things. It's just overall pretty good. The instrumental is something I'm kind of mixed on because the game is just kind of boring, and after a while it does pick up, but for a while I thought maybe it's more of a C tier track until this part hit right here. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted from the entire song. And I'm kind of sad we didn't get more of this vibe. We only got it for like one turn, but this one turn was more than enough to cement this song at B tier. That being said, this is the lowest of the D tiers, because after that intense part, it does kind of slow back down. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think it was executed the best of its ability. Yeah, fast delivery is kind of a weird one, but I do still like this song. I'd be lying if I said it was one of my favorites.
Meow has a certain amount of flexibility in the English language.
Nocturnal Meow. The song I was probably the most harsh on after like one or two re-listens of this song, and I can kind of see that now. I'm just taking my two biggest issues out of the way. The two chromatics. Look, why is Normal's this freaking loud? It's not really all that fun to listen to. And you want to know what's even worse than Normal's loud chromatic? Cryfield. You know what he's not labeled as in the wiki? A Gorefield. You know what he has? He has Gorefield's freaking chromatic. Haven't we heard enough of this already? It is... I'm so sick of hearing this chromatic on every single week except one. It is so unbelievably annoying, and it is so repetitive to listen to. That being said, the chromatics are my only issues with this song, because everything else is really good. The instrumental works super well and kind of gives this dreary vibe, which is situational to the vibe that we have right now. And I do like all the melodies, well, most of the melodies I like. And yes, even though their chromatics are bad, Normal and Gorefield are still kind of working with the song. And I gotta admit, the pacing does quite work really well in this song. But it's not until this Thunderbolt strike until the song really starts picking up, and I'm really starting to enjoy the song. Like, okay, again, I'll say this, but I know I was too harsh on the song in the past, solely because I didn't like its chromatics in the first, like, 30 seconds. That wasn't very fair. I should have given the song more chances. I should have given it more tries, and I should have been a little bit more considerate of the song. Also, this part right here is just so amazing. It is easily my favorite part of the song, and redeems everything. Nocturnal Meow is one of the okayer tracks in the mod, and definitely grown on me, but I still wouldn't exactly call it incredible. I just call it really good. It was good.
Did you actually think that joke was funny? That wasn't. Nobody is laughing. Here's a graph of comedy over the past 20 years. This is when you told your joke, you have single-handedly ruined comedy.
Compliment. Similar to Nocturnal Meow, I used to not like this song all that much. I thought it was just kind of boring and not something I wanted to listen to. Nowadays, I think this song is good. Now, there is an issue with this song. I'm sure you've figured that out by now. It's Gorefield's chromatic is reused on Thankfield. Oh boy. At least it's not as bad as it was in Roses and Quartz. So that's already a plus. And I do like the slide notes that are used in it. That's pretty catchy, I'll admit. Boyfriend sounds really good throughout the entire song. Wanna like the song? I don't really know why I don't like the song more. I guess this just isn't really my type of music. I also think it's a little on the bland side, and I also don't really think it should be 3 minutes long. Like, I think maybe 2 or 2.5 would have worked better. I don't know. I just think 3 minutes is kind of overkill, and it makes the song more repetitive than it feels like it. This song is kind of weird for me, because, again, I used to think the song was pretty good. This is kind of bad. And I don't know. I guess this part here is pretty good. I like the whole notes that EF's giving off. But I would be lying if I said I absolutely adored the compliment to an extent that I think I once used to, where I started not liking it all that much. Yeah, this song's just kind of weird for me.
Hello, we're part of the Prince William Food Administration. We're here for inspection.
This is the best that Lasagna Boy has to offer, and it's still a B tier. That being said, I do still like health inspection. Quite a bit, actually. That's supposed to do this incredible, like, 30-ish seconds with this just fire beat, which was basically just the entire song. Like, I mean it. This first part is actually incredible, and starting the song off as an SS. Unfortunately, that's also an issue, because it quickly goes downhill after this incredible beginning. Lasagna Boy's chromatic changes up a little bit, and it still sounds good, but it doesn't have the same charm as it did in the first part. Also, the intro gets a little too tame, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But my biggest issue with the song, and the reason it's on A tier, is this part here. Like, why does Mr. Whiskers? Why do you need to share a chromatic with Gorefield? Can't you just have a freaking custom chromatic? Would that kill you? Just have a custom chromatic that's unique and actually sounds good on you? Because this doesn't sound all that good, and I don't like how Lasagna Boy sounds anymore either. Boyfriend is at least saving this section, albeit not all by that much. And I do gotta admit, the second BF stops singing right about here, I just don't like this part. Like, why was it necessary to put Gorefield in this song? At least it's chromatic. It's so overused, and I wish that it gave Mr. Whiskers a custom chromatic. And that's an issue later on, too, for another song that we'll see later on. But, yeah, at least it goes away after a while, and then we do loop back around to the beginning, which is nice to hear it again. It kind of just completes the song. And again, so still a really good beginning. Yeah, Health Inspection was close to an A tier, but Mr. Whiskers kind of ruined it for me. I'm sorry, but I don't like songs like I used to.
I cry like Snoopy.
Man, Garfield gets way too much hate that I just don't think is worth it at all. People call this song boring and slow, and okay, maybe the slow thing is acceptable at some points, but the song's not boring. It's dark, it's creepy. There's a lot of good things about this song. The first being Normal's chromatic. This is definitely the best use of it, even over Cataclysm, which we'll get to Cataclysm soon, don't worry. Garfield's chromatic is, pretty good. It's just faker Gorefield, but that's not used as often as normal Gorefield, so I can give it a slight pass here. This slow part is also pretty nice. Probably my favorite part of the song because it really gives off this vibe from the instrumental, which, holy god, this instrumental is actually perfect. This is one of the best instrumentals in the mod. And no, I will not take that back. It just gives this tone of creepiness and sadness and misery that Garfield has in him. That being said, I do think this song gets a little worse as it goes on. Not by much, but just by enough that I would be lying if I said this song was a high A tier. It's more of a lower A tier, but still a solid song. Yeah, I just think Garfield gets way too much hate that it doesn't deserve at all. It is a really good song. And I couldn't be mad if it went to the top 10. I just really
Hey, everybody. What the hell is that?
It's Sonic.
No, it isn't.
Oh, it is Alter Cat, the song we got in a hot fix update. This good. Okay, I will state my biggest issue right here. I don't really love this first half all that much. It's not all that incredible. It's just kind of boring, and it takes a bit too long for the song to get properly started, but right when it does, that's when the song starts kicking up a lot, because Garfield has a tonals. You don't get that very often in FNF mods where people have a tonals. Usually it's just Pico and Darnell who have the tonals. But they do work quite well on Garfield's. But I think the real star of the show here is Boyfriend. I quite like his chromatic, and the instrumental is pretty good. If there's one other thing I don't like about this song, it does feel a little repetitive with the tonals, which isn't a huge issue, but it does get a little annoying after a while. I also think the song is a little too long, which is weird because this song's only like, what, 2 minutes? Maybe a little less? But it just feels kind of long to me, especially when the tonals go away. It just goes into a Garfield chromatic. I don't know, this song's weird for me. I do still like it though.
Give me your miraculous so I can make everything go back to the way it was! Make a cataclysm!
Cataclysm. The big song in the mod, and arguably the most popular, and it's not even top 10. But why not? Well, there's an issue in every phase, but there's a lot of pluses too, so let's go over all my praises with each phase, starting with phase 1. Normal versus base Gorefield. This is actually a pretty good start. Gorefield is a pretty good chromatic. I like that it's used on the Angels in phase 5, and Normal sounds pretty good. Not as good as he did in Gorefield, but it's still a pretty nice usage of it. The pacing works really well. My semi-issue with this phase is, again, I don't quite think Normal does fast notes all that well. I think he's more equipped for slower notes, like how he was in Gorefield. And I guess it kind of pairs well, because Garfield works really well with fast notes. The instrumental is kind of just okay. It's just a ticking clock, and I guess it's not awful, but it's one of the more mid-instrumentals. This whole note part is pretty nice, and is a nice transition to phase 2, which, oh boy. Phase 2 is where my big issue comes in with phase 1. Look, I don't like Garfield's new chromatic. It just sounds too loud, and it's too whispery too. That doesn't pair well. Either make it a more whispery or not as loud, because it doesn't pair as well as you think it would. It seems like Normal is louder than Garfield, which doesn't make sense. Normal's like, what, 3 feet tall, and look at how freaking big Garfield is. That should impose a little bit of fear into you, but it really doesn't. And it's a real shame too, because I think phase 1 could have been a little done a little bit better, but it is still a pretty solid S-tier phase. And then, after this cool little voice line, we get into the best part of the entire song, John's section. So John has probably the best chromatic in the mod, besides maybe one other, but he's definitely up there. And this is one of the better uses of it, because John's chromatic works actually quite well with fast notes. Which is a shame, because you don't really get many fast notes from John. He's usually like a slower beat, but it does work quite well, and I guess Gorefield does pair well with him. My only issue with phase 1 and phase 3 is that I think it goes on for a little, it doesn't really go on that long, it's pretty short. And then, after John's section, we get Lasagna Boys. So, Lasagna Boy is no longer pixelated, which is better for his chromatic, but there is an issue with this phase, and that's Mr. Whiskers. Again, it's just Gorefield's chromatic. Like, I get it, it's supposed to represent the past, but really, couldn't you give Mr. Whiskers a different chromatic? Does that look like Gorefield to you? Okay, it's not awful, and it does still sound really incredible. In fact, from all these standpoints, you could probably say a song is an SS, so why is it all the way down in A tier? Well, After this phase comes the easy worst phase of the entire song. The instrumental changes up, and it's Sandsfield, and oh boy. Remember back in Mundulavania when I said there was only one chromatic worse than Sandsfield's? Yeah, this is that chromatic right here. It is so boring and quiet, and it is even more muffled, and this is the worst chromatic in the entire mod, and it's not even used well. The instrumental is also just a complete 180. Like, why? Also, I think this dude has the longest phase, except maybe the final phase. But no, this phase is actually awful. It is really bad. Okay, it's not really bad, but it's bad. And I just don't like it. At least Boyfriend is saving it a little bit, but even then, that's a stretch because BF can't be singing all the time. And when it's just Sandsfield, it's a pain. And even when they're duetting, it's still a bit of a pain. Yeah, this is one of the major issues that threw the song down, but another issue comes in the final phase. Oh boy. So, it starts off with a nice ticking clock, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is gonna be some giant climactic ending, right? Right? Well, it starts off pretty good. I will admit it starts off really nice, actually. Gorefield still has the whispery issue, although it's a little bit better. I don't like how normal sounds here, though. I just don't like how they use his chromatic all that much. Because, again, Normal's chromatic doesn't work with fast notes, and this is the fastest it gets. And that's an issue. At least the instrumental is pretty good. But here comes my most unpopular opinion of all time, right here. The second Normal gets on the crucifix, this song goes from good to man. This phase right here is very underwhelming, and it's not what you'd expect from a final phase. It just is so boring, and doesn't feel like a finale. Because, look, take All Stars. They knew what they were going for finale. It feels like Cataclysm is trying to copy All Stars, but they're failing so miserably. It just doesn't sound good. And let me say this again. This is one of the most popular songs out there. And I don't just mean from this mod. No, I mean from the entire FNF community. Cataclysm is loved on. But it's just, I don't see all the hype the song gets. At least the Angels sounded pretty good, but they're short, and yeah, this song would be a lot lower if it was not for the first 3 phases, because the final 2 phases, it threw it away. I'm sorry.
If the men find out we can shapeshift, they're going to tell the church.
How is Curious Cat this good? That baffles the mind, especially since it was the worst in V1. It was so unbelievably boring and didn't fit Garfield at all. Now, it really does. So let's go with my positives first. For starters, the instrumental is really good the entire way through. It's just a really amazing instrumental. BF sounds a lot fuller than he did back in V1, and I like how they handled his chromatic. Baker Gorefield is used quite well. I'm glad this chromatic is only used twice, and that it's not just, normal Gorefield's chromatic. Now, here's the elephant in the room. People say this song is slower than V1 and it's more boring. I can agree with the first thing, but not the second thing. Because this fits Garfield a lot more at being slower. It didn't really feel right when it was fast. It feels a lot better now at a slower pace. That being said, the reason it's not an S tier is this part right here is not very good. It goes on for a little bit too long, and I get what they're trying to go up into this speed up part, which they do after BF takes one more turn by himself. But yeah, this song is so overhated, and for the life of me, I don't see why. This is so much better than V1. And this is probably one of the best gloves in the entire mod. Going from a D tier to an A tier. I just can't put in S because that stupid pause. But this is still a really good song. And I can't wait to see what V3's got up its sleeve.
Not going anywhere! You're my prisoner! And when my cousin Robotic follows you in here, I'll... Yo, what?
Captive. This is one of the more mixed songs for me, but I do still quite like this song because there are a lot of good things about this song. Let's go over them, shall we? For starters, Lyman's chromatic is used a lot better than it was in Bigots. That's not even a question, it's just used so much better. And Garfield actually sounds pretty nice here. I like his chromatic the entire way through, even though I have a small issue with it later on. It is still a really good chromatic, and instrumental is pretty good all around, not gonna lie. In fact, this first part is already starting to shape up being a pretty solid S tier, right? So, why isn't it S tier? Well, I do have to admit, after this slow part, which also sounds incredibly good, it just sounds... In fact, this first half is incredible. Like, I said S, oh no, I mean S. This is just really good, but unfortunately, after this phase, we get into the big issue with this song, and it's John's section. Oh boy. Remember I said John is my favorite chromatic in the mod? Well, this is easily the worst usage of it. I don't like how scratchy and loud it gets. I just don't really like that all that much. At least it's a quicker chromatic, so it's not awful. If it was a slower scratchy chromatic, this would probably be a lot lower on the tier list. But it's not all that bad, and I have grown accustomed to it. The instrumental is pretty good, and Garfield still sounds good, and Ocean's chromatic did change up a little bit, which is kind of weird. And after this pretty cool voice line, which sounds just okay. I don't call it amazing, I think, but it's good. Comes easily the best part of the entire song. Dawn now thinks about the instrumental than it did back in Phase 2, and Garfield sounds even better. Even though I wish his chromatic was a little bit more panicky. You know, look at John. But it is still good, and I could totally expect somebody to put the song in the top 3. I just wouldn't call it top 3 anymore for me, because it has fallen off, as a lot of other songs have gotten higher up on the tiers. Still a really good song, but just not S tier anymore. Take Me, John. This is one of the more popular tracks, similar to Cataclysm, but unlike Cataclysm, this one does not have nearly as many negatives as there were. That being said, there are a few negatives, but there are also a lot more positives, so let's go over all those first. For starters, Gorefield has a pretty good chromatic all the way through. I slightly prefer the one in Captive, but this is just still a good chromatic. It sounds really nice all the way through. The instrumental is pretty good the entire way through, but I think the real star of the show is when, you know, John and Liz show up. These two play off each other really well, and as I said before, John has an incredible chromatic. Liz also sounds incredible, even though she's only used in one song. Well, I think she technically could be safe. She could be used in 2 songs for an entry we'll talk about later, but it is pretty nice. However, there is an issue with this song, and it's the tonals. Yeah, remember I said on Unbeatable that the tonals got really annoying and repetitive really fast? Yeah, that's happening right here. They repeat themselves so often, and it's really not all that incredible to listen to. I have grown accustomed to the tonals a lot more than I think I once did, but I just don't really love them all that much. And then it slowly slows back down into a more chill beat. I actually quite like phase 3. It's not my favorite phase, but it is still pretty good. I would just be lying because it was my favorite phase. It just feels similar to phase 1, you know, without John and Liz showing up. And then we get into my easy least favorite phase. So this is basically just phase 2 again, but John and Liz aren't here to save him this time, so it's not very all that good. I will admit the tonals here are a little better than they were in phase 2, but unfortunately without John and Liz, I can't say this phase is the best. This is still an amazing song, but I would be lying if I said it was any higher than number 8.
People always ask me what I want to fly. And to be honest, I just want to get there. In spirit.
If there was any one song from this mod that I think I forgot about the most, it was probably this one, and that's for a good reason. You see, as I said before, I don't really like bigots, and with the first week, 4 songs being really good to incredible, I kind of forgot about this one. Now, when I'm re-listening to it, I think, okay, that wasn't really fair. This song is amazing, because there's a lot of good in this song. You see, the Gorefield's chromatic is probably used to the best. Yes, I know there's 6 more entries left, but this is the best usage of it. maybe besides in Metamorphosis, but it is used quite well here. The instrumental sounds super good the entire way through, and I like when BF does the beatboxing. So, why is it not higher? Well, how do I say this? I think when I listen to the song, I don't want to listen to it on repeat. Yeah, because it does feel repetitive on a repeat listen, unlike where a lot of other higher songs I'd want to listen to on repeat. This is one I don't. It just doesn't feel right. Maybe it's because the melody seems to slow down near the middle and just try and speed back up. I don't know. This song's kind of similar to Ejected from Imposter, where it just starts off really strong and slowly fades down, but unlike Ejected, it stays good. But unfortunately, that slowing down is partially the reason I can't put this song any higher than number 7. Don't get me wrong, I still absolutely love Terror in the Heights, but I just don't think the song is any better than what I've said it is. It just is a really good song all the way through, but not something I want to listen to on repeat after repeat after repeat. It's just an overall amazing song. It's just that.
Hello.
Hi, John. This was one of the lower songs in V1, and now it's amazing. So, this is the song I said earlier, that next_s. This is probably the best work they did in this entire mod. I guess it wasn't much competition considering the other 3 were just meh or bad. But I will admit, they had pretty good work on Hi John. For starters, that opening was really good. It sets up a really creepy, ominous vibe, and I actually quite like that. And it just keeps going into incredibleness. In fact, this is one of Gorefield's better uses. This isn't his best use. I think it's a little bit better in Metamorphosis and Terror in the Heights, which we'll get to Metamorphosis later, don't worry. The beat is overall pretty good. My issue falls in the instrumental. I don't like how quiet it feels. It's also a little too tame, which is a little weird. You wouldn't think it's tame, but I guess it's not awful. I have grown accustomed to it, especially when Gorefield does all his hold notes, which also, Gorefield's hold notes are actually really darn good. Now, the reason the song is in S tier and not SS is, I think, after this little growling section, which also is a lot better than it was in V1, his boyfriend's actually singing now. Thank you, that was an issue in V1. After that, we get into the ending phase, and oh boy, here's a hot take. I think the ending phase, yeah, it was better in V1, not gonna lie. I don't like how BF sounds here. I don't love the sirens. Like, don't get me wrong, this is still a really good ending, but it's just not on the same level the opening was. Still a really good song, an amazing song, but it kind of makes me wonder, why is this sort of one of the worst songs in the mod when it's just barely missing out on top 5 for me? Like, believe me, this song will be top 5. Everything else was just a little better. That's how good this song is. It is still amazing.
Take it, Mugman.
Balls of Yarn. I used to not like this song much at all. This was actually bottom 5. And now it's top 5. And that's due to a lot of good reasons. For starters, this instrumental is really good throughout the entire song. In fact, this instrumental is generally perfect. It's one of the best part of the entire song. But the chromatics do throw in a little something extra. Let's go through all 4. We'll start off with Gorefield's. I don't absolutely love his chromatic. I get it's a custom chromatic. This one sounds too goofy and just doesn't really feel right. I guess kind of feel like a goofy vibe, but I don't know. Cartoon Cat also is a pretty good chromatic. He sounds like he does in Distant Alarm, which isn't the worst use of his chromatic, but it's far from his best. John still sounds absolutely incredible throughout the entire song. That's not even a question. It's one of his better performances in the mod. And Luna sounds pretty good, not gonna lie. I think she's got probably my favorite chromatic besides John. And I do like the fact that it's the alternates that are singing with each other. Like, it's John singing with Cartoon Cat and Luna singing with Gorefield. Although, this part with Luna singing with Cartoon Cat is pretty cool. You know, I actually thought when I first played the song that Luna was girlfriend. Is that weird? Also, this duet between the 4 sounds really good throughout the entire song. Yeah, I was wrong to put this song in my bottom 5 when it's easily top 5. I just wouldn't call it SS because Gorefield's chromatic is not my favorite thing ever. But this is definitely a song I could see myself coming back to on a lot of re-listens. I don't know how Metamorphosis got the best update in this entire freaking mod, but ho boy, this song turned a measly B tier into an SS. It is just so good to listen to. For starters, the instrumental is, I like the chill vibe it gives off near the beginning. It just sounds real nice and real heavenly, and Boyfriend's solo moment is really good. And even when the chill style is ditched, it just goes all out. So, Gorefield's chromatic is, as I said before, is probably tied for its best, maybe besides Terror in the Heights, but it is still a really good use of it. And I really like how BF sounds in this song. I like how it just cuts into Gorefield's notes at a quieter beat and just starts picking up the pace. That's actually really cool. But there is a small little issue with this song. And that's, I think this song could have been a little more. When I say that, I mean, like, maybe if John started singing, because that would make the song maybe a lot better. I don't know. I just feel like Metamorphosis lacks a little something. And unfortunately, that little something is what's keeping it out of top 3. Don't get me wrong, I still adore Metamorphosis, but I just don't think it's top 3. Although that being said, this dark part is actually really cool. I just like how it just gets all creepy and ominous. And, oh, can I just talk about, just for a second, how stinking good this duet is between Gorefield and BF. Their vocals have such good synergy. This is one of my favorite part in the song, and it's a shame there weren't more duets in this song. I would have loved that. They might have made this song like number 3 or something, but unfortunately it is still just missing out. That doesn't mean I hate this song. No, I still do adore Metamorphosis, but I just, wouldn't call it top 3.
Happy birthday, whoop-dee-doo, whoop-dee-doo. May your day be pleasant. Open up your present just for you, just for you. Happy birthday, happy...
Laughter and cries. Yeah, this has always been one of my favorites from the entire mod. In fact, when I first heard the song, I was like, oh yeah, no, top 3. Not even a question. And even now, when I think it's an SS, it is still top 3. That being said, the way to get this song is stupid, but thankfully I don't rank songs like that. I just rank one of the melodies, and this song is great to listen to. For starters, Binky's chromatic. Listen, as somebody who's read and listened to Garfield his entire life, I know a lot about Binky, and this is a perfect replica of his voice, his chromatic. It just sounds really good. And shocker of the day, but BF sounds good too. I'm not sure if his chromatic is compressed. It doesn't really sound like it. Well, it kind of does at some points. It kind of looks compressed, but it does look pretty good. Sound pretty good. This instrumental is a really good tone the entire way through. It's nice and circusy. I enjoy. That being said, my small issue comes in the second half, when the instrumental kind of dies down a little. It's not awful, and it does fit when Arlene enters, which, ho, Arlene. She's got a great chromatic. I can hear pretty well over Binky, and I like that she sounds pretty similar to Liz, which already a great chromatic, so yeah, let's take a really good chromatic and make it even better. Yeah, the reason this song's gonna be high is just because again, the instrumental is a small issue, but it's not a huge issue, and I still do absolutely adore Laughter and Cries. I don't think this will ever go away from top 3. It's just that good. I love this song. I adore it to pieces.
I can't.
Hey, babe. Okay, punishment. What?
Come on, what were you expecting to be top 3? It's the great punishment for crying out loud. This is a song that got me into this mod, and it is still one of the best to this day. John is back, and he probably sounds at his best here. Of every song John is in, this is easily his best. And while this may not be Gorefield's best, it is still really darn good. The instrumental, incredible. Can I say how good this instrumental is for a second? It is just, oh, this is definitely top 5 instrumentals of the mod. And all the melodies flow really well in this song. It just, oh, this song is incredible. It's not my number 1 anymore, but it is darn close. And kind of say, it's so cool when John does hold notes. I love when he does those. They just sound so impressive. And especially when it's just him and Gorefield going back and forth, Owner and Cat. It's just, oh, it sounds good. But that is nothing compared to when John starts firing the shotgun. Oh, I love the sound that it makes, especially when it's reloading. It just sounds so cool and turns this already incredible song even higher. My only issue with this song, the only minuscule issue I have with this song, that it is just a little too short. I just want like an extra 30 seconds. That is literally all I want from The Great Punishment. But other than that, this song is incredible. It is perfect. But it is just not number 1. I am sorry, but number 1 was just a little better at the end of the day. I still love this song to pieces though, and if you don't, I am sorry, but you are missing out.
Smokes!
Smoking's bad for you, you know.
No, it's not. Try it.
You were to tell me that Cat Patella would be my favorite out of the entire OST. When I first played Gorefield, I would have laughed at you. Now, I can't see it any other way. So, starting off with Sansfield's chromatic, this is by probably the best chromatic in the entire mod. I mean that. It's better than John's. These guys are much like Sans, so of course Sans has good chromatic. Not the crap he had in Monday Lovania, and especially Cataclysm. The instrumental is also very Undertale-like. I quite like that. But I think the real star of the show, at least in this first half, is when Sansfield and BF are duetting. If you guys have played the OG FNF, you would know that in Pico's Erect songs, BF copies what Pico does after a bit of his own singing. And they do that here, which I really like, not gonna lie. Gives BF a bit of a customer, gives more of a freestyle vibe, and I actually quite like that. But after this duet section is over, the background switches up, and the best part of the entire song comes up. Because, oh look at that, it's John. Wait, John, what are you doing here? Oh, that doesn't matter. His chromatic still sounds absolutely incredible. This is a little worse than Great Punishment, but it still sounds really good at the end of the day. I really like how his chromatic is used here. And especially paired with the instrumental, which, can I post a joke? This sounds really, really good. It is just a perfect instrumental for the entire song. This song right here is top 10 all FNF, and I will not take that back. You will not make me. I slept on Cat Patella for way too long, and I am so sorry. This song is actually incredible, and it's perfect, and it's so better than Great Punishment, and I don't know how, but it just sounds really good. that, we have completed Gorefield. This is an OST I actually quite enjoy. It's not the best OST in the world, but it is still top 5. I think there's a lot of good from this OST, but there is also a lot of bad. A lot more bad than anything else I've probably ranked, but I can see potential in its V3 that is upcoming. I have seen a few small things for it, and it looks pretty good. But until that comes out, here is V2's tier list. I know, a little weird, especially with Cataclysm not even being top 10, and High John passing almost everything. But, at the end of the day, these are just my opinions. Now, with that out of the way, what to rank next? Oh wait, I know. I'm gonna be ranking Infernal Bout next. The mod about the King of the Koopas. I was gonna do versus online, but I'm gonna hold off on that one until maybe a later date. But until then, I'll see you all next time.